It's Taurus season, and some of the astrology is really, really nice. It also still has some shocking elements and some delusional misinformation shit going on that we will get into. So if you're excited to dive into what the astrology holds for this May 2021, make sure that you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you stay up to date with what the stars have in store for you. So before we get started, I do want to let you know down below that I have a link for Swan Bitcoin. This is an exchange where you can dollar cost average or recurringly and safely invest in Bitcoin in small increments so that you build up and sustainably are buying in recurringly. I trust Swan, know the team, and I bought in with them before, so I do like how simple, easy, and how they give you $10 of free Bitcoin when you sign up below. If you're interested in traditional stocks, also not sponsored, but I have a ref link for WeBull down below. Basically, $100 you put into the platform, you get 2 free stocks valued at up to $1,850. So if you want to check out WeBull, anyway, Swan buy into Bitcoin, WeBull buy into traditional stocks. You got the list down below. If you want ref links for exchanges to trade on, if you're a trader, I also got you covered. So yeah, bio's full of shit, full of good shit. If we have not met yet, hello there. I am Maren. I am a Western astrologer using the tropical zodiac within Hellenistic techniques. So starting out on the 1st through the 3rd, we have the Sun conjunct Uranus in Taurus. Sun, authority, leader, creative potential, conjunct Uranus, rebellion, shocking action, stepping up in liberation. When this has happened in years past, it basically always coincides with the president or leaders in our lives being like just suddenly out of nowhere doing something fucking daring and ballsy, and you're like, okay then. This time it's square Saturn and Aquarius. Squares are tension, and Saturn is conservative ideals, limitation, self-consciousness. So it looks like someone is trying to rebel and get something very daring done, especially with Taurus in terms of the environment. There could be, I'm filming this in late March, but there could be like an environmental bill trying to be passed, something around climate change, and there's a blockage. Saturn in Aquarius does tend to be more open-minded in the reasons that it's blocking things. Could be logistical, and like there are different ideas on how things should be done to move forward. There is the idea that we should ram full speed ahead, and there's the idea that I tend to take that you have to weigh out the utility of the opportunity cost of doing things rebelliously versus like conversationally. There's a difference in opinion on how to get this up and coming action done beginning of the month. On the 8th, Venus is now in Taurus. So Venus, lovely planet at home. This is great for the market. It's receiving a square from Jupiter. This looks like things could be too good to be true in the financial markets, I'm gonna say, because Venus, Jupiter in a square is great. And the stock market is propped up right now, at least at this point in July. Money printer's still going brr. So I think as the economy reopens, the dollars are in circulation, people continue to buy into stocks just for the sake of putting their money somewhere where it's growing. Looks really great beginning of the month for the markets, especially around the 8th. And then on the 11th, there's a new moon in Taurus, a really grounded, fertile, earthy energy to start something that takes into account the possible highs, the possible lows, and stays the middle. That's the good part about the middle of this month. This new moon in Taurus is fairly stabilizing. The beginning was a bit inflated with trying to get something done that you're really convicted in and having someone else be just as convicted in something opposing. And the end of the month, as we'll get into, is kind of misinformation ridden. But for now, this 11th new moon in Taurus, I really like because the sun and moon are together. They're not particularly harmed. I mean, Mars is in Cancer, which is a little frustrating because it means that we're being indirect and passive aggressive, but there's some Gemini brainstorm kind of more conversational energy to balance this out. I could foresee something around climate change or an initiative around the environment planting seeds around the 11th, beginning, no pun intended, really beginning to take initiative around then. On the 20th, the sun is then in Taurus receiving a square from Jupiter. So sun, the authority, the power, receiving a superior optimistic square from Jupiter. Someone is empowered to get something going. This will be going over Biden's moon. So I think he could be trying to get something passed regarding the environment or an environmental infrastructure measure or something financial as well with Taurus. Something around like the root chakra, the hierarchy of needs square one is trying to get passed here. From the 21st to the 24th is then where things get a bit murky because Mercury in Gemini is at home. Mercury is in the sign that it is most comfortable in. Its home sign with Virgo, Gemini. It is articulate. It's able to brainstorm in a way that is very brilliant. It bounces off of things. It is very, bouncy is like a word with Gemini. It's just the molecule, like I'm thinking of like atoms bouncing. There's a brilliance to it. However, it's square Neptune, and squares, again, tension, very at odds with one another's path. Neptune's path is to delude and make beautiful and glamorous and non-real. So Mercury trying to get a point across when that point might be fictitious can be harmful. That can be a misinformation campaign that's very convincing. I fucking know. So Mercury and Gemini squaring Neptune does make me concerned about very convincing misinformation campaigns. Like when people say very dumb things very intelligently and convince a lot of people that don't know any better to keep repeating that harm. On the 26th though, there's a lunar eclipse in Sag, which kind of furthers the point of this ideological growth. The eclipse season in Gemini and Sag started around a year ago in 2020, and this has coincided throughout history with social movements that have been opposing. For example, last eclipse season in the spring, we had BLM uprising, and we had in the fall more conservative uprising as like the point of, in very different kinds. I mean uprising in terms of taking a hold of media and taking to physically in streets. And I mean, this was a point both last spring and this past winter where there was a lot of pro-lockdown versus like anti-lockdown rhetoric. There's a lot of like, we need to like really protect the elderly versus like, I would die if the economy could reopen. Like those things came to a high point around eclipse season. So even though this eclipse is pretty favorable, it could be favorable in the way that each side thinks that they've won. Like the misinformation is such an echo chamber to where each polarized side of every facet of every side is like, we're doing well, we're winning, like look at them, ha ha ha. There's a lot of like making fun of the like very like kind of icky joke energy with like some of the Gemini and Neptune. It's like you're too sharp that it's like boom. It's a fairly favorable eclipse with the direct feeling around it, but eclipses I always worry for just what the downfall is going to be as the collective ends something. And with Mercury and Gemini square Neptune, and then on the 27th, Venus and Gemini squaring Neptune, which feels too good to be true on what we feel ideologically and information-based convicted around. Venus's value in Gemini, that is short form data, square Neptune, that is feeling really good about having short form data that might be completely misinformed. So I know for one, around things that I cannot confirm, I throw my hands up and say, I don't fucking know. I'm the first one to say that like, I'll fucking like, obviously like, I wear the mask, I'm not going out to like super spreader events, and if you ask me around the data of everything, which I can't say because I don't want it to get demonetized, but like if you ask me around data, what it means, I'm like, I don't know, I'm just gonna do my part as like a citizen here and now and stick in my own lane and let the people who are epidemiologists, either alternatively or like, not alternative, but I'm just gonna let the people who have a vested interest and are really, really familiar with actual data, deal with the data. I'm gonna stay here and be my little old self around things I don't know. So that's kind of what's going on here. I recommend maybe kind of a similar, not financial advice, but on the 28th to 29th though, Mercury conjoins Venus in Gemini. So Mercury Venus is communication and value. It's an aspect I have in my chart. Writers, speakers, they often have it because it's a sweetness to how you communicate. Ending the month with that is like, okay, at least we get some good news. Maybe it's in our echo chamber, but like, yeah, that's how the month ends. So if you have any thoughts around the month for you, how this sounds to you, what you want to express, I've laid some opinions in there as well, so we can get some hot takes, I suppose. Mercury, Neptune, it's all going to get fucking out of context anyway. The tarot card for this May is the 5 of Cups. I like this card a lot. It is 5 cups, some are turned over, and the figure is walking away because, is my camera recording? Okay, thank God, I've had to record this twice. The figure is walking away. He does not want any more wine. He is done. He's dissuaded. I think that we're done with the bullshit. We're done drinking the Kool-Aid, basically. And we think that we're the ones not drinking the Kool-Aid when we probably are. So like, we're done and we're dissatisfied and we're probably not doing that much to actually solve the problem. We'll deal with that in summer after the euphoric Bitcoin bull run that's probably taking place right now, as Bitcoin sits at 54.5k and I have a limit order it's about to hit. I can see it. Okay, with the astrology card for this month, fire, action, vitality, impulse, passion. Yeah, maybe being direct with your actions, because with Mars in Cancer for a lot of this month, it is kind of just passive aggressive and not direct and getting around the bush. Fire purifies. So if you can purify, simplify, and nail down what your stance actually is, it's less likely that you'll be able to be manipulated by people who don't mean to manipulate you, but we're all just running in circles with our heads cut off. So if you enjoy this and you want to invest in like fucking any of the platforms, Swan, WeBull, I have exchanges at Bybit and Binance down below. Feel free to look at those. We love to spread and share financial literacy and access to tools here. My Modern Magic membership is also open, so you can join us for exclusive content offerings, new and full moon chats. Would love to have you join. Yeah, otherwise, let me know how you're feeling. Any thoughts, prayers, things this month you want to share, and I'll see you in the next one.
Yeah. Yeah. You must be blinded by the lights. We came to shine here. Watch it look daytime in the night.